Hello. Here we are.
Hello.
Winter time again, and here comes the snowstorm. There it is.
How sweet.
There's the snowstorm. That's pretty much it. And so, okay, and here we are with Kundalini awakening. And I have us in this second bar here, which talks about prana being caused or made to flow in Ida and Pingala. And these, as I said before, these bars are meant to portray a progression of what happens. It's not perfect. It's not supposed to be a precise thing. It's just, it turned out 6. There's nothing magical about the number 6. And what we're looking at here is, this is on the website version of this thing, but what we were going through is the PDF version that I made of this. So I'm going to come back here and I'll close this out and bring back the PDF version. Okay. There we go. And who's here? There's, boy, already got some lined up there. Hi, Joe. And morning, Rosalind. Hello to Shren. Hi, Gurvinder. I'm in a cookie making factory here. I think that they're Goedemiddag. I think they're making cookies. Is that what's going on?
I think so. Yep.
It's cookie making time here.
Pumpkin cookie?
Pumpkin cookies. And so anyway, here we are. And so this big black arrow down here on this print on the PDF, I didn't have I didn't have color. So with the black and white, I came up with the idea to put a little black arrow there, so it shows which bar we're on. So if this is printed out, then it makes more sense when you see it like that. And another thing to comment on here, the words, the narrative in this article too, is not meant to be some definite, final, every definition related to Kundalini. It's intended to be a sort of overview thing about a generalized statement about how this process with Kundalini works. So the first step in Kundalini awakening is balancing the flow of energy in the Ida and Pingala. This will sound very familiar to most of you because we talk about Sushumna a lot. This means that equal amounts of prana are flowing in the left and right sides. It is most readily evident by the breath flowing evenly in the 2 nostrils. Sound familiar? In our common language, we speak of feeling off balance or getting centered. Just in daily life, we speak of wanting to be centered. The balance or center energies is the goal of this step of the process. This affects not only the subtle body, but is also experienced in the gross physical body and brings tremendous health benefits by positively regulating the, guess what, the autonomic nervous system. And yummy. Crowds are showing up there, huh? And there is Yolanda. More Dutchies. We are more Dutchies. You guys are taking over.
Wow.
Yummy from Inika and Nilesh. Hello, Nilesh. Hi, Mir. Hi, B. And there's Teria, aka Violet. Hi, Teria. There is a natural transition. There's a natural transition between Ida and Pingala from time to time during the day. For those with very healthy bodies and minds, this happens approximately every 90 minutes. For others, the shift may not follow so regularly, or energy may be more or less stuck in either Ida or Pingala for much longer periods. This reminds me always that there was a thing that happened in Pennsylvania when Swami Rama set up a big institution, ashram there. He was talking about this natural flow from left to right. And at the time, they were trying to document research. There were a couple doctorate degree scientist research type people around the institute, and they knew how to create research and document it and get it into the official academic record. They knew how that process worked. So they were going to do this with this notion of nostril dominance. So they started doing research and checking the nostril dominance of people and having them check it during the day and write down paper on whether it was left or right. And they ended up going back to Swami Rama and saying, Swamiji, we've been trying to do research to affirm what you said, it just to get it in the research stuff. But we have a problem. We have found that what you've told us is not true. We found that people do not have this natural shift of nostril dominance from left to right. And to which he explained to them, well, of course not. You people are in terrible physical health. And so it presumes that you're eating good food and regular sleep and exercise and all that kind of stuff. And when that's the case, there is a natural shifting. But when not, it doesn't seem to work that way. And so let's see, there's the, and did I say hi, Gurvinder? And there's a Huyamita. And oh, there, that's right, there was Yolanda. And Inika says, yummy to the cookies.
Yes.
Hello, Nilesh. Hi, Mir. And there's B. Hi, B. Did I do this? I already did. Somebody else popped in. Ashish popped in. And Joe. Hi, Joe. We're swimming in Joes around here. We have a Joe here locally, and is Joe Moreau here today with us? I don't think I saw him pop in yet. Anyway, that story pops into mind here talking about the 90 minutes. But there is something to it. And even if you're not regular, you can notice that there's a shift. Another thing that's kind of fun too, I don't remember if I said this here. If you have it happen during the day and you notice it shift, you probably notice that the mind becomes very calm and you just want to take a break from your work and you want to sit for meditation. It's a nice little bonus time right in the middle of that shift from one to the other. It's like you get a free meditation. All we have to do is take advantage of it. Just pause what you're doing and have a minute of silence. In these moments of natural transition, the mind is calm, centered, and balanced. There's a sense of inner peace, as if the mind wants to do nothing but be in meditation. For most of us, unaware of this transition, we force ourselves to say it matters at hand in the external world during these moments. I have noticed one thing. I don't know of scientific research to back this up, but when I have listened to school teachers of young children, there's this problem now going on, at least I know in the Western world, it's probably everywhere, I don't know. They have a category called attention deficit disorder or something like that, ADD, etc. And so they're saying children have deficit disorder. And this can be confused with this transition. So if there's a child, if you're a parent, you have a child, become aware of this and you'll learn something. It may be that the child is having the shift from left to right and right to left is going on. And the child, we want the child to be paying attention to us or doing schoolwork or something like that. And the child suddenly just doesn't want to do it anymore. And we say it's attention deficit disorder. This child needs pills, needs medication. Instead of acknowledging that it's a natural phenomenon, that when this happens, you just want to rest. You just want to be quiet. And so sometimes it gets confused, I think. I don't have any proof of that. It's just empirical, observing and listening to people, parents. Once you are aware of the natural shifting, it can provide time to take a minute for yourself to enjoy the inner stillness. It is as if nature is giving us a free meditation from time to time. Sandhya, the wedding, the union, balancing of it and Pingala is like a marriage. Swami Rama used to talk about this word Sandhya a lot, but it's known as the wedding of the sun and moon, of night and day. The wedding is called Sandhya, and like with a marriage, it is a time of great joy, only this is meditative joy. In the wedding, even the mind and the breath are joined in happy union. When this happens, when the nostrils are shifting like this, the mind is just not troubled. Breath is smooth. Beautiful union. Later, the wedding is of Jiva, the individual soul, and Brahman, the absolute reality. It's another usage of the word wedding. Beginning of joy, the balancing of it in Pingala and causing prana to flow evenly is a real beginning of joy in meditation. This is why when we were talking earlier about Yoga Sutras, note the sequence, the systematic process. You know, the breath work comes after a steady, still posture, which comes after having improved or have a good, healthy relationship in the world and knowing ourselves a little bit, which is the yamas and the niyamas. Then comes pranayama, which is this that we're talking about here, basically. And then comes the pratyahara, and then we move towards the attention and meditation. All of the other practice up to this stage are to bring the state of the peaceful mind. Now, note here that many people, in using the word meditation in our modern world, many people will consider this to be the goal of meditation. In other words, it's the end of the journey. To the yogis, this is not the end of the journey. Huh?
It's the beginning.
It's, so to speak, the beginning. It's not the absolute beginning, but it's the start of the meditation process itself.
And also, sometimes we say, I want peace, I want to meditate because I want peace, but actually you need to cultivate that mind before you can meditate.
Yeah, you cultivate the peace so that
You can meditate.
you can meditate and do the deeper, subtler things, which is one of the reasons we talk about where's this whole thing going. And so we can have a conversation about the higher samadhis and objectless samadhi and kaivalya and all that, because then our intelligent mind can gain some understanding of where we're going and say, yeah, this is cool. This is what I'm wanting. And then we can see it, we can look at it, we can measure it as we're going, we can see where we are in the process. At one's regular meditation time, the ashram wants to be able to balance these two energy by direct control. We don't want to just have to live our lives and wait and just occasionally on rare moments, somehow I just have a really good day and I'm feeling good today. If you were to look at a lot of lives, and people talking about stress-filled lives and this and that, and finally I took a vacation and I went to Hawaii and the sunset was there and I was sitting on the beach and finally I found peace of mind. I mean, we hear stories like that because of busy lives. And if you were to check it, you'd probably find that at that moment, Sushumna was awakened. The two were balanced. So do we have to take a vacation to Hawaii or something like that to be able to get Sushumna awakened? And of course, the obvious answer is no. But we do need to be aware of this so that we can then gain some mastery over the ability to do it when we want.
Something just popped in my mind, Swami.
Okay?
So as you were saying about the Hawaii thing, so it seemed like when people are in such a place, experiencing that beauty, somehow the conflicts of their day-to-day life is gone. So they experience the balancing of the energy.
Yeah.
So if we somehow attenuate our gross colorings and attenuate or resolve some of these conflicts, and naturally when we sit for meditation or when we go about our daily life, there is that balancing.
Well, they
It
go
seems-
together, yes. And this is the process of the yamas and the niyamas,
Right.
so that we can do it. But in some sense, I would guess it's probably more the other way around. If you get sushumna balance, then noisy mind becomes quiet. But obviously they go hand in hand. The ability to regulate the balance is through a simple practice is one of most profound parts of the inner journey. It's unbelievable. It's too simple. Notice with your mind which nostril is flowing more and which is less. By focusing attention on the closed nostril or the less open nostril, sometimes a person say, well, they're both open, but which one's less? It will gradually open and bring an increased feeling of calm. Ma, will you? I'm going to take a quick break here. Okay. Mother Nature.
Mother Nature.
I'm going to do something else to
By
open my system.
focus, and that indeed sometimes has that effect. And by focusing attention on the closed or less open nostril, it will gradually open and bring an increased feeling of calm. This may take, let me see where, I have to scroll more up, otherwise you can't see it. This may take some months to accomplish, or it may come sooner, but the skill will definitely come. And notice some months. So just to be able to open a blocked nostril.
And practice.
Yep. Alternate nostril breathing. Alternate nostril breathing is a specific practice to balance Ida and Pingala, whereby you intentionally breathe through one and then the other nostril. It may be done either with the fingers or the intentionality of the mind. There are many combinations of alternate nostril breathing, though one of the simplest is to breathe 3 exhalations and inhalations from one nostril and then 3 from the other. This is called 1 round of alternate nostril breathing. 3 rounds is generally done to complete a practice. And which one is more dominant, Saudi?
They're pretty even. Maybe I should.
No, and see my left.
My
My
right
left
is
was
down.
more not open.
My right.
My left. That's why I should be on the floor.
No, I should be anyway.
I don't have to work today.
Where were you?
At the end of the bottom, the next page. So how much?
So hum. The breath naturally makes 2 sounds: so with inhalation and hum with exhalation. I have somewhere on my website, I made a sound recording, an MP3 file of that and of the breath. And you can actually hear the difference. If you'll listen, if you put somebody's nose right beside you, and it's not congested, if it's an open sinus nose, and listen carefully, or I'll show you a little trick here like this you can do. And if you can get this right, you can hear this. If you take your hands and cup like this, so I've got 2 cups here, so it's like I'm listening to my own voice like this.
Bounce out the sound waves.
The sound waves of the sound in my nostrils comes and I can hear my own breath. And you can actually literally, can you hear it, Adi?
Mm.
And can you hear the difference between inhalation and exhalation?
Yeah.
There's a difference, isn't it?
Mm.
And the inhalation sounds a little bit like so, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
And the exhalation sounds a little bit like hum. Hmm. Hmm.
Hum.
Isn't that amazing? Anyway, there's a little trick you can play, a little game. And hi. Joe is right dominant at the moment. Mitesh is high.
It's high.
Is high.
Naturally high.
Hoy. Is that how you say hoy?
Boy is high, yeah.
Hoy is high. Hi, Maribel. Anyway, play with it. There's something to it. So there's really something to this Soham business. Conscious use of the Soham mantra is a tremendous aid in balancing Ida and Pingala. I have a Soham mantra CD. I don't have it as a CD anymore. I should go in and take this out. I'd forgotten I had that there. And so I have it. It's online, and we can download. I have it in a couple places. You can download an MP3 of the Soham. And there's a YouTube video that I made years ago. If I remember, I'll post it after we're done here. I'll post it there. It's a YouTube video that has a so and a hum, and has a little visual instruction to go with it. And this is a familiar picture. You've seen it before. And so it's a crudely made wave. So there's the rise in the wave and the fall of the wave, and the rise of the wave and the fall of the wave, and those are transitions, symbolic of breath. So we exhale and we inhale and we exhale and we inhale. And this is the fourth pranayama this is describing. And so there's the exhalation, the transition, the inhalation, the transition, the exhalation, the transition. And if you dive down below the surface of the water down here, there's just pure prana, but you're not in the rise and fall of the waves. Okay, just a symbolic thing. It's Joe. See, we have another Joe now. We have another Joe. The entire purpose of Hatha Yoga is the balancing of these energies. Ha means sun, Ta means moon. It's the balancing and unions of these energies. The sun is the active Pingala, moon is the passive Ida. The Hatha postures and breathing practices will all lead to this. And don't take my word for it. Go to the Hatha Yoga Pradipika and read about this. It's written there. So it's in the text, not just verbally. And diaphragmatic and 2-to-1 breathing are especially helpful. The vigorous breathing practices such as Kapalabhati and Bhastrika can help to break the pattern if we're stuck, particularly if we're stuck in right nostril because of stress. Kapalabhati and Bhastrika can sort of help loosen things up. It has something to do with the autonomic nervous system. Balances the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches of the autonomic nervous system. And it reduces the elevated fight or flight response, which is commonly called stress. In other words, the single act of balancing the breath is a tremendous aid in physical stress reduction, in addition to being spiritual practice for Kundalini.
It really helps.
It really helps.
It really helps. If I'm stressed out for something, then I just...
Adi is proclaiming that it really helps when he's stressed out.
Adi is validated.
He does the thing with his fingers, alternate nostril breathing with the fingers. What are we doing?
He was doing massage, but then
Joe took over.
took his chair, so I'm just
I'm
mindfully
sorry.
positioning
okay.
myself.
She's repositioned now.
Okay, this is birthday back rubs. Huh?
Don't be
Yes.
attached to any birthday present.
Yeah. Now remember, we promised later we're going to get her down. We're all going to do her at once. Everybody grab a different part.
I'm not gonna be.
And
Bending to that.
go
Pull it
your own
apart.
place.
Well, you go to your place, you can pull and bend and wrench. You know how to do that. The rest of us just can just gently rub a part.
Yeah.
You can do that part and crack her back and her legs and arms and neck and all
That's
that.
not what she's asked for.
Foot rub.
But she's getting the whole professional service,
Whether she wants it or not.
whether she wants it or not. Why do you think we ordered up Joe? He's a chiropractor.
Yeah.
He knows how to do this stuff.
Now he's taking off his jacket. Now it's
Now
coming.
it's serious.
It's coming.
It's coming
Get
now.
prepared, Ma.
When the right nostril's open with Pingala's dominant, this is a better time to do more active projects. When the left nostril's open, when Ida is predominant, this is a better time to do more quiet projects. There's something to it, right, Adi?
Absolutely.
There is.
Just find out for yourself.
Ideally, now this may not work totally, but ideally solid foods are taken when Pingala is more active, when the right is open, aids digestion. This is more dominant in the midday. This is usually the best time to take the major meal of the day. Ideally, not perfectly, but ideally, liquids are
This is
taken.
disappearing behind the framework of the.
Yeah, I know. Oh, oops, thank you. Yeah, do I have something that's disappearing behind the snow-filled village?
Most people fall asleep on the right side.
Often people fall asleep on the right because the left is dominant because it's more passive.
Right.
And so in going to sleep at night, sometime on both of them is helpful.
I always sleep.
First on your left and then on your right.
Yeah,
There you go.
there you go. What have we got here? Prana is made to flow in Sushumna is the idea of this one.
Looks like a cruise ship and showing a different cabin location.
It's the different cabin location.
We're getting upgraded slowly.
We're getting upgraded. We're getting upgraded to Kundalini and the crown.
It's like
So the notion, what we were talking about, is usually nostril dominance is left or right, and what we're doing in that last section was talking about that we want to be able to shift it ourselves from one side to the other. And now we're talking about when it's in Sushumna, when the prana is not only balanced, left, but is also made to flow through the central channel. There comes an even deeper abiding peace of the mind. The mind and heart only want to go inside for meditation. Right, Adi? Adi says,
And we know how to interpret that. Very well.
The two energies of Ida and Pingala flow along the spine, which has been called Merudanda. Danda is a staff, and the Meru is the central staff in the spine of the subtle body. Ida flows through the left. Pingala flows through. Sushumna Nadi flows directly upwards and downwards between Ida and Pingala, coursing through the chakras, so to speak. Now this, and most of this stuff, I just borrowed it, lifted it from Swami Rama, and so I don't know that this is terribly important. Probably Joe will say that it is. Within the many ganglionated cords of the nervous system, there is a nerve center in the area of Ajna chakra at the space between the eyebrows that is called the ganglion of Ribes, if we like names. Although in Ida and Pingala are subtle energies, they correspond to this physical structure. Ida flows on the left side of the spine, circles the ganglion of Ribes, and converges on the left. Pingala flows along the right side of the spine, circles the ganglion of the Ribes, and converges on the right. Thus, the two forces of Ida and Pingala converge at the ganglion of the Ribes in the space between the eyebrows. So this is one of the energetic reasons that meditation on Ajna Chakra is such a profound place.
Gateway to the city.
Gateway to the city of life. course, City of Life being going up to the crown. And
Our question, then what about meditation on the heart center? It's you sort of like say a lot about Ajna chakra, but how does it compare to the heart center meditation?
you find whichever is your predisposition. You know that you follow your predisposition. At the more surface level out here where we're functioning in the world, and energetically we're functioning in our personality, most of us have a predisposition predominantly for heart and emotions and feelings, or a predominance for mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this level out here, we work with that. And so that may very well be a heart. I've met a lot of people, in fact, I think this actually happened to me many years ago, that recognized that being more mind-oriented, do a lot of Ajna chakra stuff, and sort of need some remedial time in the heart, just to balance out emotions and relationships with people. So so you say, okay, well, spend some time coming down. So the person will say, I read the book and my predisposition is like this, so I meditate up here and get a headache by being in the forehead for too long. And there's something magical, beautiful that happens when we come down. But see, we're still at the most surface level of our being and personality. It's only then when you drop down deeper, then this phenomenon here that we've talked about happens. And then that person who has been maybe spending years in the heart, all of a sudden, in a moment, in a seated meditation, I've seen it happen with somebody, in a moment, it's as if the Shakti herself grabs you and in an instant, bang, you're up here in the Ajna chakra. So the Shakti, the Kundalini, is moving upward. Now, if we don't understand that, this is one of the potential boo-boos. We don't understand that. We read a book and we say, oh, well, Ajna chakra is better than Anahata chakra. The eyebrow center is better chakra. It's higher than the one in the heart. So I'm not going to waste my time in the heart. But we may need to do a lot of preparation work in the heart. So we make
it's also if you go in here, and she's in the heart, then you end up in a specific sort of, it's like, it's not really a space, but you end up somewhere. You go in here, you end up somewhere, but it's actually the same somewhere.
Ultimately, you end up in the same place, which is one of the things that happens when I said sometimes.
Yeah. So you went in here.
A person in the heart, all of a sudden, in a moment, in a flash, all of a sudden they're up. And of course, when you go up through all of these chakras and up Sushumna towards the crown chakra, then, so to speak, all bets are off.
So what about in Yoga Nidra? You go into your heart, you don't go to your head.
This is another thing. The phenomenon is that different levels are going on at a different time. And the place where our consciousness normally goes in the waking state, I'll turn this on so everybody can see what I'm trying to say. In the waking state, you can observe this for yourself. Your waking state, we operate predominantly here. All you have to do is look at the organization of the human body, and you can see that. Look at the plane of reality as you're seeing me on the camera right now. My nose is here, my eyes are here, my ears are here, and my brain is in here. So everything is operating up here. This is the control center in the waking state. In the dreaming state, our energy tends to shift down here. When we fall into deep sleep, notice that it's in our common language that we say, fall asleep. What we do is we fall from here down here. So the normal place where your energy and your attention automatically drifts to when you fall asleep. Watch a person when they lay down in bed. It's very common. The person will grab a pillow. They'll grab their blankie, their little blanket. Child will do it. And what do? You grab your blanket, you hug it like this, and you fall asleep. What are we doing? We're coming down here. So our attention at the level of waking, dreaming, deep sleep, just in daily life, we operate from here or here or here. And so the instruction that we were given on how to do this by Swami Rama is simply following that pattern.
Yeah, it helps to fall asleep to actually focus on the heart.
Yeah, it helps to fall asleep because that's where we normally do dreamless sleep. So notice if you're laying in your bed and a person is tossing and turning because they're having worries from busy, stress-filled day and can't fall asleep, the attention tends to be up here in the thinking part. And so to get beyond that, it's helpful. Grab your blanket and your snuggle blanket and you hold on to it and you're bringing your attention down here.
It's now a sleeping robot coming onto the market.
Yeah, there's somebody's just announced this product that is a sleeping robot. That thing that she saw didn't really say much about how it worked.
It breathes.
But it pulses or breathes and you hold on to it.
It's like a peanut that is about the size of a baby.
Yeah, and you hold on to it here.
And it takes over you because you are breathing along
So
with it.
it's somebody's modern invention, computer-driven little gizmo
It's tested and everything.
that is drawing upon the same wisdom that the yogis figured out a very long time ago, but didn't have computer chips to manufacture a hug peanut. But there's something to it. Anyway, the point I was trying to make was in response to what Joe was saying, that when we're talking about the functioning on the more surface level of our being, that's where this question of here or here or here is more dominant. When we drop down deeper levels of our being, different koshas going inward like that, at those deeper levels, that's where you run into the subtler aspect of this, and then everybody then is going to go up to chakras and is going to go up the sushumna and to the light at the bindu, the light of the thousand suns and crown chakra and all that.
So if the skin of the body disappears in that level, you're not
It's transcended, is a popular word to say it. It's like it's fallen away. When you're laying in bed, falling asleep, or when you're sitting on your cushion doing your meditation, what happened to your computer and your furniture in your house and your food stored in the refrigerator and your car that's parked outside? What happened to all those? I don't know. Doesn't matter. They're not there for me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so an operative word is transcended.
Mm-hmm.
We have left those external things aside as I went inward. So that same process happens. So the level where this is about emotions and this is about thinking, that's a certain level. When we go deeper or beyond or transcend that, then that falls away. It's now all external events. A very subtle point to even talk about, but it's now an external event. Patanjali talks about this in chapter 3, which we're just now starting into chapter 3 in our Yoga Sutras journey, but Patanjali talks about this somewhere, I think it's Sutra 6 or 9, somewhere in there, that even levels of samadhi become external events compared to the subtler. Well, you don't even have to go to Turiya. Nirbija samadhi is more interior than is sabija samadhi.
Yeah, Ines falls away.
So there's this whole phenomenon of levels, and it applies to this that we're talking about here as well.
Can I share something, Swami?
Yes,
Because I've noticed
Adi's going to tell us a story.
Over the last months, before those last months, during meditation, my attention went to Ajna Center. And now over the last months, I'm just focusing on breath concentration. I don't get to the point of Ajna.
Used to be in the Ajna,
and
now
it
he's
feels
been drawn to breath.
Very good. Because somehow I think it's apparently I need more preparation on the breath part before going again.
So something internally is guiding you to move
Yes.
down and work with the breath at the
Yes.
nostrils.
I think a lot of people, in a way, should do what you're doing because we want to immediately go there, but then we really start to see how.
Well, this is one of the things that happens. We read the book and it says meditate on Ajna Chakra. That's the place. Well, I want to go there, so I'm going to go there. And we can accidentally overlook the preparation stuff.
Yeah, and that's the point that I
Yeah.
want to make. That for me, it feels like a progression.
Yes.
That I go back to breath.
Yeah, it's progression in the sense of, if I may use the word, remedial learning. It's like going back and doing something, learning something that we sort of glossed over or something. And another part of it too, we can say, comes from the years of doing this stuff and cultivating the awareness that there is wisdom inside. There is Guru within. And though that voice in one way or another is speaking to me, telling me what I need to do.
Yes.
And so then question, are we listening? And what you're describing is that you were listening. So you said, okay, I'll come down and work with the breath here. And then you learned that there is benefit in it.
Yes. Or come down to body meditation.
Or come down to the body, yes. It seems very easy for most of us. It's easy to just kind of overlook something for a while. I've done that many times, gone, backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not backwards. It's just, I like the word remedial.
Thank you. I'm just asking.
I don't know exactly.
Video
Yeah.
to remedy something.
Remedial. It's like, I don't know, it's just something you skipped over. It's like the thing that says, how do you get your posture steady, stable? Everybody says, well, go to more postural yoga classes. That will do it.
Mm-hmm.
What does Patanjali say? Loosen your effort and expand the internal to infinity. So you say, I'll give that a try. You say, wow, this is really cool. How come nobody ever told me that 10 years ago? And so it's a remedial means I'm going back and learning something I overlooked. It's all.
A little bit like repair.
Like repair, except it doesn't necessarily imply broken.
Right.
No,
Repair might sound broken. It's not that something's broken. It's just picking up something that
Was left off.
was left off. Like you dashed over this morning to the grocery store to pick up another ingredient to go into the cookies or pie or whatever it is. It's a remedial trip to the grocery store.
shopping.
Remedial shopping. That's a nice way to say it. I like
doing
that.
something over again that should have been done.
Yeah, theoretically we should have done, but we overlook it. We goof up.
2 steps forward, 1 back.
Well, this is one of what we're about to start making a new course called Beginning, Intermediate, and Advanced Meditation. And the spirit of this is to attempt, I know it's not going to work perfectly, but we'll give it our best shot. It's an attempt to do the suggestion that Swami Rama has made quite a few times that says that the entire process of meditation should be understood first before you even embark on the journey. That's a very, very difficult task. I don't think I've ever met anybody that actually succeeded in that. But the idea is, if I have a roadmap, if I have a pretty good snapshot of the whole journey, then maybe I don't have to later do so much remedial stuff. And so anyway, that's the spirit behind what we're trying to do next and we've been through that in these satsangs. We've gone through that together. The article I put together that I called The Path, which is based on Swami Rama said, and I have another article I wrote, Beginning, Intermediate, Advanced Meditation. They both basically follow the same outline. It's a way of attempting to do that. So let's talk about the whole journey, the entire journey. Here's an example. In the later stages of advanced meditation, there comes a point where the instruction is, notice your predisposition for sound or light. And when the conscious mind is quiet and calm and the body is still and the breath is smooth and sushumna is awakened and you're beyond visualization, you either sit in the darkness, you're like sitting in a dark cave waiting that somebody's going to turn the lights on, or you're sitting in a place that's also dark, but you're literally just listening, but there's nothing to hear. And that's the later instruction. But we can read that ahead of time and say, okay, I'm supposed to visualize a point of light. And some people are very good artists. Some artists are extremely good at visualizing internal objects. People are not so good at it. So I'm going to visualize a candle flame or a bright light or something, and I'm going to meditate on that. Well, that's visualization. That's using the indriyas. And it's not that advanced practice, but a person doesn't know that can sit there and say, I'm good at visualizing, so therefore I'm already an advanced meditator, so I'm going to visualize light out here, and I'm going to jump ahead and be an advanced person. I'm going to be a great yogi. And then later we discover that we skipped part. But the idea is, if we understand that along the way, then we know that instruction coming later is not a visualization exercise that's done in the preparation stage. And I'm mentioning that just as an example.
I think in Yoga Sutras lecture, Swami Rama, somebody asked him a question, and he said their perception and thinking are two different things.
They're two different things.
And that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
when people visualize their thinking, and you're asking them to
and you see, there's nothing wrong with visualizing. It can be tremendously useful for stabilizing the mind, for giving stability to that otherwise wandering mind. It can be a very useful exercise. But we can accidentally think that, going back to the question that Swamiji was asked in the lecture there, we can accidentally think, oh, that's in the advanced practice. No, that's preliminary practice to stabilize the mind.
I think, which is what Swami Rama said about first you have to understand the process.
Yeah.
And we very easily get deluded in thinking that we actually understand the process.
That's right.
And that can
that's why we have conversations
right.
such as we are right now.
Right.
This is why I have sometimes, from time to time, resisted the temptation to go into this article on Kundalini awakening, because I've gotten emails from time to time about this article, and somebody, instead of seeing it as a whole big picture, wanting to target in on how advanced he is and write me an email and say, I want my Kundalini awakening to bring it to the crown chakra. And that's some really...
Can you tell him to shove it up his ass?
No, it's...
Well, that is up. It's in the direction.
Well, maybe he's not there yet.
Yeah, something like that. And so
I found...
So it's useful to look at an overview of how things are working. And so then when like what Adi said a few minutes ago, then when you discover one day, you say, well, maybe I should work with my breath a little bit. That inner intuition comes, then you can pause and you say, yeah, maybe I should. I think I'll do that. And then you find out, wow, this was what was needed.
I found the biggest misunderstanding about meditation is about the beginning steps.
Yeah, the preparation.
Literally the very beginning steps are the ones that I went back and said, gee, this is so profound, and I totally missed it.
Yeah, just overlooked it. Boom.
Just literally one
Missed
sentence in your guided meditation, I thought about it. This makes such a profound sense if you really take it as something extremely valuable, but you sort of overlook it because
which sentence was that?
Saying it just to get you from here to here, but it's not. It's actually a very profound statement.
Yeah.
That's where I found myself missing things.
And that's in our nature. We miss things. So?
Because it looks simple and the ego doesn't like to feel like,
one of the most direct means of balancing the energies is attention of the mind on the flow of the breath at the nostrils. I can remember early on hanging around students of Swami Rama, some of whom were the teaching faculty, and were saying things like, oh, well, this kind of breath awareness in the Soham mantras, those are for beginners. And I heard it said, those are like a little tricycle, a bicycle that wheels on the side, those little bitty wheels there so that the bicycle doesn't fall over. That Soham is like meditation with training wheels. And after a couple of years of hearing that, I made this discovery that it was totally wrong. And the guy in charge of the place was never saying this. I never heard him say that these are the Soham with training wheels. Not once. But with talking, you can watch the videos today. We have the videos, on our YouTube channel, and watch those videos. He goes to the blackboard, and there's Swami Rama drawing on the blackboard a line going up for inhalation and a line going down for exhalation, with the arrows. And so he's saying so, and he's saying hum, or he's saying om, and he's saying om. And so he keeps saying that over and over and over and over again. The other people, the students who were trying to be teachers, are the ones people saying, no, Soham is training wheels. That's for beginners only.
It's for those other people.
It's for those other people. And I discovered it was a remedial thing, like you were saying, Adi. I overlooked that because I was listening to the majority. I was listening to the majority.
Trying to be in the bell curve.
Who were being the bell curve, and was overlooking, because it took me a while to figure out that the dude was telling the truth. It was not insulting. It was not meant to be mean. When he'd come in front of 100 of us in a room and he'd say, you people are not doing what I'm telling you. I keep trying to teach you and you're not doing it. I didn't believe him. I presumed these old-timer people who had been around for all these years, longer than me, I presumed that they were doing what the boss was teaching. That's why I just presumed that. And I discovered, like the Soham is a perfect example, I discovered that this notion that it's training wheels, and this breath awareness with Soham is training wheels and is inferior practice, they were wrong. And I'm not saying that I have no intent or attempt to insult anybody. I'm not, because it speaks for all of us, I think, because I include myself in that. I overlooked a lot. I was not listening, even on the breath and the Soham thing, until I started to have some moments, like Adi was saying a little while ago, where he thought, maybe I skipped something, and went back to awareness of breath. And then and only then I discovered this is incredible. And the basics, what you were saying, Joe, are the preliminaries. That's the key to the whole ball game.
Not even preliminary. There are advanced techniques masquerading as beginning.
There are advanced techniques masquerading as beginnings. And then another way of saying that, one of the big secrets that I discovered about the secret teachings is they're right in public view. That's the secret. They're in public view, but they don't get practiced.
I don't think they get recognized.
They don't get recognized
as what they actually are.
Yes.
We sort of I skipped over them for 30 years.
Yep. 30 years skipped over the basics.
Well,
I'm not picking on you. I'm hearing you. I'm just repeating it so everybody else hears it too.
I actually practiced it, but my attitude about it was it's just a step. But as I started kind of contemplating on some of these just simple things that you say in your guided meditation on the CD, just literally the first or second sentence, and I started just playing with it. And
what sentence was that you're referring to?
When you say, first you said sit comfortable on the floor, then you say sit with your head, neck, and trunk straight, aligned. So I think these.
What a concept.
But the word sit straight and the word align, it's something, what do you align? So when you start watching your body, you actually see things aligning. And then when you say, be aware of your body, and then you say, be aware of your whole body. There's a difference between these two things.
Yes.
Because the first thing is, my mind brings out whatever I feel, but then I exclude parts of myself. I exclude part of my awareness because I have some parts of my body I like better than other ones. And so some parts
here's
of my
this troublemaker saying, be aware of your whole body.
right. So what I notice myself doing it, I perceive myself, and there are parts of me that just don't exist. So when I actually allow everything come in as being me, then something happens inside.
Well,
so,
now I think you already know this, but by the time I made those recordings, I had already lived through all of my screw-ups of what I had failed to do.
I understand.
And I was in opposition to guided meditations, but it was out of a spirit of compassion for people who had also missed a lot that I did those things. And literally every word on those recordings was scripted.
But you see,
including trying to think. And so I sat and I contemplated, how do I get through to people on a recording? And so I literally came up with the phrase, be aware of your whole body. And so my voice has an emphasis on there so you see, I got you. That the thing that you're describing to me, Joe, it was intended. When it wasn't an accident that came out like that. It was scripted. And I think I had put all capital letters, whole, so that I would emphasize, now be aware of your whole body as one being.
But you see, I listened to this CD for 10 years before I came to this realization.
Yeah, but it worked. Gotcha.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, I did not listen to the words that you were saying, like the words that Swami Rama is saying, literally saying, and this is actually something valuable.
You didn't listen.
I sort of like listened to it, but I didn't. It's like you gave me a piece of rock, a piece of diamond, and I'm thinking, oh, that's a nice rock.
You were a casual listener.
Well, yeah.
Not big.
But what I'm saying back to you is, yes, Joe, I know. And I knew that when I made it. I knew that people were not going to do it. I was completely, fully aware of it. How did I know that? Because I sat there, and I really do not mean any insult on anybody in saying this. But it's what I finally learned, that a lot of people around the boss were not listening, including me. And so now, what am I going to do to try to help people deal with this? Well, this is part of what it was recording that thing. There was a part of me, and being honest, I did not want to record these things, because what's important is self-awareness, not getting hypnotized by my charming voice. So I said, okay, I'm not going to hypnotize people. I'm going to try to choose the words and the voice inflection that is attempting to get people to literally be aware. Don't just listen to my voice and say, oh, what a nice meditation that was. I want more of your voice. It's so alluring. Takes me to samadhi. Bullshit. It's putting you in hypnosis.
Yeah, and the habit of just playing
the habit. Yeah.
You know, and not really actively listening.
So I was aware of that when I made it. And it's like, okay, I'm going to attempt to choose the words and the inflection in my voice very carefully, with an attempt to get people to actually use their attention to be aware of their own inner makeup. It was an attempt. And so when you tell me that it took 10 years, I say, fine, I don't care. I don't care if it took 20 years. I'll still sit here and look at you now. I say, got you.
I think my biggest realization, I'm still obviously keep reminding myself of, is that these words is actually very profound, so I cannot just skip over them. It's like, I can listen to Swami Rama the first 5 minutes of anything he says.
For those of you who are economy readers, you're going to read right through this and never practice it. May God bless you, and one day you travel the path of light. That's what he wrote in Meditation as Practice book. I was going through that book in Rishikesh, trying to decide how to use that book and some other books as textbooks in the retreat programs there. And I'd been through that book like 7 times, and all of a sudden my attention fell on that sentence. And I said, holy shit, For those of you who are economy readers, you're going to read right through this without ever practicing. God bless you, and may you one day travel the path of light. And I had already read through it 7 times and missed it.
I think Swami Rama was saying, gotcha!
And he said, gotcha. And the day that I actually saw it, I was 2 pages beyond that, and all of a sudden it popped into my mind something about read right through. I said, read right through, what was that? And I looked where I was reading, it wasn't there. I looked again, it wasn't there. It wasn't in the paragraph I was reading. I looked at the previous page, and it wasn't there. And I said, damn, I know I'm not completely crazy. I saw that somewhere. So I turned back a couple more pages, and I went back to a major heading in the book, and I just started forward there and reread the whole thing. All of a sudden, bang, I found it. There it was. And then it was totally obvious. And in my fantasy, I can well imagine an editor seeing that and going, Swamiji, we should take that out. That's not nice. That's mean. And him saying, no, I can just imagine him saying, no, you leave that. Now, my ego wants to say he told that editor to leave it there so that a few years later, I personally would see it. Now, I don't know that it was quite that grand, but there it was. You're going to read right through it and never practice. God bless you, and one day may you travel the path of light. And so somewhere along the way, we see it. And this is what you're saying, Joe. And so I'm saying, good. Something in you happened to the point where you started to realize my biggest problem is I'm not paying attention. It's been put right in front of me for years, and I'm not seeing it. So now I'm going to work harder to follow the instructions.
I think what I found for myself is actually my belief about what I'm looking at. So unless I would change the concept of what I'm actually looking at, nothing would happen. So, I just thought, you just try to sound nice on the CD, just guide people to the good stuff. And I totally, because I took what you were saying as a common speech, as opposed to actually literal instructions, directions, or orders for practice.
Yeah. It takes what it takes.
I think, to me, this is very, just, if I think of myself missing all of this, what about the rest of the world, whoever comes in contact with any of this stuff? It's very kind of,
Well, they're doing the same thing. We all are constructed in a comparable sort of way.
We all screwed up in the same way.
We're all screwed up in the same way, basically.
There's a comfort in that.
I think there's a tremendous comfort in that. And if we understand that you just said, if we understand that, then we can at least strive to do something different. We can strive to say, okay, let me look more closely. Occasionally, often I get emails and Facebook messages that are really sort of off track, that are almost useless. But from time to time, probably 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 is somebody has really gone to some effort to carefully structure their words of what's going on. And it just excites me when I see that. It's like, wow, this person is really exploring what there is instead of just dumping out a silly question. And I give that a lot of extra effort, not because it's long-winded, but because it's targeted, because the person is, in a positive way, struggling to understand this principle. And that's what we all want to do. And once we discover that, wow, I can get off track so easily, I can be an economy reader, I can read right through and not see it. Once we understand that, then we are looking at the crux of the problem. Then we can do something to solve it. But if we don't see it, we just think I'm a really neat, great, wonderful person, which we are, and so therefore I'm an advanced person and blah, 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 then we stay stuck.
I'm reminded what Swami Rama said in a few places. He said, self-realization is easy. In a few places.
Well, the whole thing is easy.
And it sounds like, okay, so I have a choice. I either think that Swami Rama just saying stuff to sound nice.
Well, it's not just him, it's all these sages.
Or he is actually literally telling the truth. And
Patanjali tells us, says, look at the obstacles that Patanjali outlines in Sutra 30 of chapter 1. He tells us right there that the mind is going to get confused. He says it right there. We're going to get depressed. We're going to go backwards. He even says it there. We're going to fail to go forward in our practice, and we're going to actually lose ground. It's all outlined right there. It's not new at all. So it's not just us. It's not that we have a bad teacher. His name is Swami Rama, and if he was really a good teacher, I'm going to dump this guru. I'm going to go get me a better guru. That's not the problem. The problem is our own makeup. And even Patanjali tells us that if we have, as the saying goes, the eyes to see. So probably for most of us, has some troublemaker like me has to point it out and say, go look at Sutra 30. And when we've gone through this together, there's always a couple of people who say, wow, this describes my life. He talks about these 9 major obstacles and that triggers 4 other problems. So there's, I call 13 yucky things. And many people have said when we've gone through that, wow, you've just described my life. And it applies to all of us. And that was a couple thousand years ago. So it's in our nature to have these obstacles.
But then again, Swami Ram says it's easy. Basically, he's saying...
Well, everybody says it's easy.
Well, he's saying it's doable.
But it is easy, and it is doable. And everybody can do it in this lifetime, but very few will.
And I'm just thinking to myself, Swami Ram wouldn't be wasting his time if he didn't think somebody's going to benefit from it. He would just stay at home.
So that's what we do. We'll all do the best we can do.
We're benefiting all the time. And
Yeah.
I really think, Swamiji, that you help us when you tell us, now look, when we're having satsang.
That's what I'm trying to say to him, that I knew that when I made that CD that he's been listening
now
to.
look at what he is saying here. And then
I used to,
you are
Yvonne,
doing
I
that.
used to, when Swamiji said he wanted me to start teaching in that Rishikesh ashram, you know, I didn't want to do it. But I finally did. And I started coming up with ideas, how do I get around this problem of the economy reader? And I would refer to I'm responding to what you just said, I would sometimes refer to myself as a highlighter pen, you know, a yellow highlighter pen.
Yes.
All I'm doing is saying, look here.
And we are copying you with our group.
And
You know, we are
and
doing
this
just like, stop the
I
video.
think that this kind of approach actually works. It actually
Yes,
helps people
It does.
because it's respectful. I have tremendous respect for the people that I know. When we go over to this alcoholism drug treatment center over here, and that these people let me go in there and talk to all their patients and say anything that I want, I will ask them things like this. You are in a recovery center. What is it that you are trying to recover? What is it that you have lost in life that you're trying to recover? Because I don't want them to just think that not drinking alcohol is the success of life. I get them to talk and tell me in their words that they want peace and joy and tranquility and divinity and all their words like that. And so it's the same process.
Yeah.
So I'm a highlighter pen.
Yes.
And there's something to this. And so I enjoy hearing you say that you're taking this that we're doing and trying to do the same thing with people that you're serving.
And to wake them up.
Yes.
Because they are listening or they are watching the video that we are going through, but they take it for granted. They are not really. It's really
easy to accidentally say, I've heard this too many times said years ago, yeah, when they're ready, they will get it. I say bullshit.
Yeah.
No, bullshit. There is some truth into it, but if a person isn't getting it, maybe it's the way it's being presented. We just keep trying to figure out ways to put it in simpler language. I have on my website an article I wrote. Was one of the first things I wrote and put on my website now nearly 20 years ago, and it's called Inspiration. And I put in there, it's me telling a story to myself, and I just parked it there. I said, because Swamiji had written somewhere that the teachings must be put in as simple of terms as possible so that all people may understand and benefit. It's a tremendous, tremendous challenge. And it was one of the most inspiring sentences for me in terms of trying to be of use to people. So I put it there so that I would have it parked and I wouldn't forget which book it came from, which I don't remember now where it came from. How do I put this in simple terms so that people can understand it? And that's not just blaming. Don't blame the students. Let's stop blaming other people. They're too stupid. No, I'm stupid.
Yes, well,
Swami Rama himself, Swami Rama would refer to himself, you may have heard it, he refers to himself as a fool and points out that everybody else is a fool too.
yes.
And it's not an insult. It's not an insult. It's not an insult. We're clouded.
It's so rich. The material is so rich
Yeah.
that every word.
So anyway, we'll pick up next time where we left off there and keep going. Sometimes it seems like Matesh wrote a big little epistle here. Let me read it. Seems like I'm going through preparation steps like Sushumna Awakening, 61 points that happen very fast, and I advance the last step, focusing on Ajna Chakra and Heart Chakra, the Yoga Nidra. Does this happen because of practicing many times? Is it okay to move through the initial steps faster? The thing that comes to my mind, Matesh, one part answer is yes, of course it's okay. We ought to, by doing this a lot, we come where it's easier. I will say easier. But if the word faster is happening, look very closely, honestly at yourself. I don't mean honestly to me. Look very honestly at what you might have overlooked. Listen to what Adi was saying a little while ago.
Sounds like somebody who is asking this question, wanting to go faster, probably not ready to go faster.
Well, it's the word faster. And so listen to what Adi said a little while ago, listen to what Joe was saying to us a few minutes ago, that he realized after 30 years, if I may put this word on, that he was trying to go too fast. So it causes me to pause a little
going
bit.
pretty slow. You know, the master.
Yeah, but anyway.
I was just going slow in the wrong direction, which was a good thing.
The fact, Matesh, that you're aware to be able to even pose the question to me is the most positive sign of what you just said. The fact that you're aware enough that you're thinking about it, that you would even post the question, says to me that you're aware of the situation and that you're trying to deal with it. And that's positive. That's cool. All righty. So where are we? Okay. Daniel, thank you. Thank you for playing, Daniel. Good old Daniel.
You look like a rock star, Jeff.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Like a little bit like Bono.
Om Tat Sat. Let's let Eileen have the last word here today. She ends with an Om Tat Sat. Okay, so tonight we'll do a little bit more on the Mandukya Upanishad. Bye, Joel.
But I don't know if Bono is as tall as you or taller than you.
Om Tat Sat. Okay.
Om Tat Sat.
Om Tat Sat. And everybody here is saying Om Tat Sat. Boy, what a crowd we got today. Three.
You don't want to sing It's a Beautiful Day?
I'm here with 6 people, including 3 duchies. So thank you all for playing. See you tonight maybe, or tomorrow, or one of these days. Join the Table Talk group and put some stuff there, and let's bring some life there. We got a few people that are really livening that up. We created a new one. The Table Talk 6 is coming to expiration date. We're good for 6 months, and so we're just starting Table Talk 7. And if you put some rich question there like Matesh just did, I'll turn on the video and give a response to it and hope that it helps. If you have not taken a look yet at this new course that we just published yesterday, please take a look at it. It's got some pretty good stuff in there, we think. Even the producer director of the course says it ended up pretty good. So it's not just the talent speaking. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dewey.